Alright, hi, so this is going to be a little bit of background before I actually show the clip. So today I was doing my usual commute home back from New York City via Metro North, and first of all, my train, which is a train to Southeast, but I get off at Crestwood, so it's basically like a very local train to Southeast, but an express for me because the train goes Harlem, then Crestwood, Scarsdale, Hartsdale, then it goes all local to Southeast. So that train was on track 11 at Grand Central, which is kind of weird, because the train is usually not on the upper level, let alone the literal first track on the upper level. The train itself was an M7, so nothing too crazy about that, of course. M7A, actually. Well, of course, but anyway. On track 12, there was the train to Danbury, and of course, the Danbury branch is unelectrified, so it was just a regular 7-car Shoreliner consist with a P32 at the front. Nothing crazy about that, of course. Actually, I had no idea that they even run Danbury direct trains now during COVID. I mean, they don't even run New Canaan direct trains, so I don't know why they would run Danbury direct trains. But anyway, when I was walking down the platform, I was looking through the windows of the Shoreliner, and I saw the Shoreliner had seats like the M3A, and I was like, am I dreaming? What is this? So I'm guessing Shoreliners are getting refurbished seats now, and they're gonna look like M3A seats. So I literally went into that car, and it was the cab car. So it was the car that was closest to the entrance to the platform. I literally went inside that car to investigate because I had 10 minutes to spare anyway, and this train would leave in 20 minutes and my train would leave in 10 minutes, so I had plenty of time. So I went into the cab car and I actually recorded me going down, and I was like really confused because I had never seen any plans to refurbish Shoreliner seats. So I was just walking down really surprised, and of course this is not my train, this is just a train to Danbury. I needed the train to Southeast, which was across the platform, and it was only the cab car that was refurbished. Like, all the other cars just had your regular old Shoreliner seats, which are normally blue and red. But the cab car had these M3A style seats. And once again, I had never seen any plans or anything or any videos about these seats, so this really took me by surprise here. So if you don't know, M3As were actually refurbished in the early 2000s. So their seats got upgraded. The actual shape of the seats and everything stayed the same, except they got turned into like a blue color and some like green columns separating the seats basically. And they look like this. Prior to their refurbishment, they had blue and red seats, which are what Shoreliners have. These seats on the Shoreliners literally looked like refurbished M3A seats. And the reason they even refurbished the M3As in the early 2000s in the first place was to make them look more like M7A seats. But when they refurbished the M7As, they refurbished everything, like the interiors as well. But on these Shoreliners, they only refurbished the seats. They didn't refurbish the interiors. So they still had the same usual dark interiors of Shoreliners, which I think is a little bit odd of a design choice, but I actually really like the new designs a lot. But I have a lot of questions myself. Like, are they only gonna refurbish the cab cars? Are they only gonna refurbish the Metro North owned Shoreliners? Because if you don't know, Shoreliners are partially owned by Metro North and partially owned by the Connecticut Department of Transportation. The Connecticut Department of Transportation owned Shoreliners have that red stripe along the windows, and Metro North owned have a blue stripe along the windows. So I don't know, maybe they're only going to refurbish the Metro North owned Shoreliners because these new blue seats are kind of signature to the Harlem and Hudson lines. But I don't know, maybe they'll refurbish all Shoreliner seats for all I know. I really don't know. Maybe they're only going to refurbish the seats in Shoreliner 3s and 4s. Again, I don't know these things. If anybody watching has any information of this project to refurbish Shoreliner seats, please leave some information in the comments if you can. That would be really appreciated because I'm really curious to know, actually. To my knowledge, they refurbished Shoreliner 1 and 2 seats in the early 2000s, maybe not even the early 2000s, maybe like the early 2010s, but they kept the same design. They literally just refurbished the material, like they had the same colors and everything. But Shoreliner 3s and 4s were not refurbished, to my knowledge. So maybe they're only going to refurbish Shoreliner 3s and 4s? Possibly? I don't know, because to my knowledge, Shoreliner 3s and 4s did not get refurbished basically since they were built in like the 70s and 80s. So when I got home, which was literally a couple of minutes ago, I went online to see if I could find any information of these refurbished seats, and I found one thing. Literally one thing. I found this picture on Reddit, and it says, I guess the Metro North Railroad Bombardier Shoreliners are getting upgrades. And this was posted 8 months ago. So they've been at this for a couple of months, almost a year practically, and this is literally the only picture I could find, or the only information I could find about this upgrade. And you can see this person said, "I guess," so clearly the MTA didn't really publicize the details of this refurbishment. So my theory is that they're gonna refurbish the Shoreliner 3s and 4s only with these new seats, and they're gonna leave Shoreliner 1 and 2s alone, but that's my theory. And I'm not sure if they're only gonna do it for the Metro North owned Shoreliner 1 and 2s, or if they're also gonna do it for the Connecticut Department of Transportation owned Shoreliner 3s and 4s. Maybe they'll also refurbish Shoreliner 1 and 2s, but again, I'm not sure. So this actually appears to be either a Shoreliner 3 or 4, because I think this is the middle door section over here, and the car that I was on was a Shoreliner 3. I know that for a fact practically. The way I can tell is it has a middle door, and the doors between cars you have to manually open. It doesn't have that button. And on Shoreliner 4s, they have a button that opens the door for you. So that's how I could tell that the train I was on was a Shoreliner 3. This is either a 3 or a 4. So I have yet to see a Shoreliner 1 or 2 with these new seats, and Shoreliner 1 and 2s had their seats refurbished in the early 2010s, early 2000s, so I don't think they're going to refurbish the seats on Shoreliner 1 and 2s. Also, I rarely ride Shoreliners, literally, because my local stop is Crestwood, so I'm on the Harlem line, and of course, Crestwood is electrified. The Harlem line is electrified up to Southeast, so I rarely even get an opportunity to ride Shoreliners, but hopefully the next time I actually ride a Shoreliner, I'll get these refurbished seats in one of my cars. So basically, I got on this Danbury Brown train at Grand Central just to record this new interior because it amazed me practically. I was on the car for about a good 40 seconds, and then I literally just left the car and went on my southeast bound M7A, which was right across the platform. So if people noticed me recording, they were probably very confused as to why I got on the train for 40 seconds to record. So without further ado, here's the clip I recorded of these refurbished Shoreliner seats. Enjoy. So hopefully you enjoyed that clip. So if you like these types of videos where I basically just sit in front of the camera and talk about trains and actually explain things, definitely let me know in the comments because I'd be happy to make more of these videos. I was actually planning on making a video like this discussing the idea of putting batteries inside of M7s and using them on the Oyster Bay branch of Long Island Railroad, but I never made one because I don't know if people would really be interested in that type of stuff. If you're interested in videos like that, feel free to tell me in the comments because I will happily make more videos, and it would be really nice to share my knowledge about trains, especially like Metro North, Long Island Railroad, the subway, because that's where my knowledge is really at in terms of trains. Also, I think I really should start posting more on my train channel. If you don't know, I have another channel called Light, which is my main channel, and I usually focus a lot more on that channel, but I really do want to focus on this channel more as well. I also have a ton of videos that I recorded about trains that I just never posted. I have a couple of M3A rides because the train that I take to my internship and the train that I take back, usually they're M7s, but sometimes they're M3As. So I have some M3A ride videos, and I also have a couple of subway ride videos. So I will definitely post those at some point on this channel. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.